of Edwardian life, with its peaks, its trough, its trouble, its strife. Please come with us as we explore
the life and times of the folks of yore. And there were, of course, also the Pierrots, who entertained us at the end of the pier or on the sands. And if you think all of this was rather a little bit too energetic or hectic, remember that an awful lot of fun had to be packed in to a very short time.
Everyone delights to spend their summer holiday down beside the side of the Silvery Sea.
the Silvery Sea.
I'm essential to the rule and active high my way. I'm beside by the side of the Silvery Sea. But when you're just a commodore garden working man like me, a chance to swim the sea is quite a novelty. So I save up all the money I can, and when the spring was great, then off I run to have some fun with a balmy breezes flying. I do like to be beside the seaside. Oh, I do like to be beside the sea. Oh, I do like to stroll along the from where the grass is best. Here we are, just let me be beside the seaside. I'll be beside myself, please. And there are lots of girls beside. I should like to be beside the seaside, beside the sea. Yes.
Before World War I, life for Britain's working millions had a monotonous regularity. Along mean cobblestone lay anything up to 12 hours a day of back-breaking work and punishing discomfort. Days were long, factory output high, and working people had precious little leisure. But the headlong way they chose to spend it summed up their attitude to life. The word holiday might mean a whole week away, with excursion trains heading for Brighton, Eastbourne, Bridlington and Scarborough. But more than likely, a holiday was just a day trip to Southend, or a works outing to Blackpool. So come with us as we eavesdrop on one such outing with two guys from Messrs Tap and Grouting.
The highlight of the year so far at Messrs Tap and Grouting.
What all the staff look forward to, the annual works free outing.
There've been some worried folk this year. Strong men had turned pale hues.
Some idiot had suggested wives and husbands should come too.
The issue prompted much debate. At times, things got quite heated.
But much relief was felt all round
proposal was defeated.
Committee always asked the staff where they'd like to go.
They all knew it would be Blackpool. Consultations just for show.
Still, no one really bothered. Priorities were clear.
Comfortable coach, well loaded up with crates of beer.
For weeks before, plans had been laid and soundings taken too.
To ascertain who would do what, and just do fancy do.
But on the morning of departure, such intentions were concealed.
Men sat with men, and lasses were lasses. Later, all would be revealed.
Phyllis had her eye on Fred, the horizontal borer.
And Sam, the tool shop foreman, who would line up naughty Nora.
Ted works convener fancied Faye, the coon.
But he was inclined to work to rule and do things by the book.
Some went just for beer, some for a fresh air cure.
And 2 nice boys for the pattern shop. Well,
No one was quite sure.
Well, after they'd spent a penny, they went their separate ways.
In 2s and 3s and little cliques, free just for the day.
Some ladies of maturer years made straight for a seat up front.
The deck chairs were high and erected. Ooh, choice language in many a grunt.
Ethel from Wages weighed 18 stone. Went to view the outgoing
And
tide.
then on a ladding post decided a poor donkey to ride.
After several attempts, she mounted the beast. It brayed like an out-of-tune fiddle.
It kicked and it struggled, but Ethel clung on and made a permanent bend in its knee.
Some younger ones went to Pleasure Beach. Iris and Sally and May.
And they got 3 bitters tagging along, because they knew they'd come them to pay.
They went for a ride in Tunnel of Love. And much heavy petting were tried.
Then they heard Irish shout, "Take your filthy hands out!" Big Dipper, I thought, was outside.
Sandra and Mervyn went up to the tower. Mervyn said, "Shall we go all the way?"
She said, "No, let's go to top of the tower, and I'm game for whatever you say."
She didn't. One group went to a tea dance, but Sid from Sales got involved in some strife.
He was grabbed by the dancers and pitched into street, still clutching the landlord's new wife.
The Sharrow was scheduled to leave dead on 9. "Be on time," said the driver, "now please."
But it weren't till 10 that the last few rolled up, crawling back on their hands and their knees.
Swerved Jack and his mate. "Oh, we better be a little bishop."
He climbed up the steps and stumbled and fell. Ooh, sick in the driver's big cap.
Well, they got underway and the singing commenced, and bottles of beer were passed round.
And then as they went on, the singing died down, as others' amusements had found.
Some, quite exhausted, had fallen asleep. Some played cards, and some got drunk as a
And
mute.
those who'd managed to fix themselves up got down to some serious fruit.
A driver's collection was started as all landmarks came into view.
They collected the sum of 2 shillings and 10, 4 buttons and some bottle tops too.
Some brought home presents of novelty rock, and egg timers filled up with sand.
And mates from filing, though not yet aware, had returned with much more than she'd planned.
If she wasn't.
She was.
As the coach dropped him off, everybody agreed that all at the time of their
When
lives.
they thought up the altrues and falses they tell curious husbands and wives.
But despite rows at home and stains unexplained, and hangovers caused by the beer,
Despite the embarrassing meetings at work,
they'll do it again next year.
What do you say?
I called to see you, Doctor. It's about my son. He's got sleepy sickness, and he says he got it through kissing the maid.
I'll be round to see them later.
But the worst of it is, I've kissed that girl myself, so I shall have it.
Ah, I know. Take this medicine. It will act as a preventative.
But the worst is yet to come.
Yes, what?
I think I must have given it to my wife because I kiss her every morning.
Great Scott. That means that if she kisses anyone, she'll give them sleepy sickness.
Of course.
Give me that bottle, man, quick.
I say.
A table.
A little idea of mine for saving money on chat.
Yes. a shilling.
Ah, but it's surprising how the shillings mount up, especially if you're very affectionate. Now, I'm just going to show you what a loving husband I've been. I say, Alice, what's the idea of all these notes? I only gave you a shilling every time I kissed you.
The rest aren't as stingy as you.
Whoa! Give me the box. Whoa!
Here we go.
Listen up. A little recitation. One day, I went a-fishing, and I caught a little fish, so small you couldn't see it as it lay upon the dish. My wife, she was so proud of me, she went and told a friend. Now that was the beginning. You just listen to the end. Of course, I was the hero in my wife's adoring eyes. She told her friend I'd caught a fish of quite a decent size. That friend, she told her husband, Mr. Jones had caught a fish so big it was impossible to fit it on a dish. That husband told another man who went and told his wife that Jones had caught the biggest fish he'd heard of in his life. It weighed just over 40 pounds. And ere the day was done, that fish had gone on growing till it weighed about a ton. The next report was furnished by a certain Mrs. Clark, who said that Mr. Jones had had a battle with a shark. She thought he'd got the best of it, but wasn't very sure. She knew that he was injured, though not quite beyond all cure. Her husband wrote a letter, sent it to the Daily Mail, and told with graphic detail this extraordinary tale. Imagine my astonishment ere many days were past, when I read that a sea serpent had been found by me at last. They said I'd yielded up my life in science's noble cause, and by my pluck and courage I had gained the world's applause. It further was suggested and approved that there should be a pension for my widow and a monument for me. I quickly ran abroad and hid behind a borrowed name, while wifey raked the money in as token of my fame. They stuck a little lighthouse up to point where I had died. And people came to look at it from countries far and wide. Now next it was reported that my widow had gone abroad and was married to the cousin of her former worthy lord. Now who that cousin really was, I hardly need explain, and so my widow thus became my wife, and here we are again, which only goes to prove to you that little fish are sweet. They're big enough to talk about, though maybe not to eat. So all you ardent anglers, the best that I can wish is may your luck be good as mine in catching little fish. Thank you.
Naturally as roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. They are a British institution, but this famous comedy partnership might never have got off the ground. Sir William Gilbert and Sir Arthur Sullivan met purely by chance, and it was really due to the vision and persistence of Richard Arthur Doyle that made this partnership persevere and last for 25 years. Both these men were highly honoured in their lifetime and were rewarded with a knighthood and reputation enormously wealthy. They came from very different backgrounds. Gilbert from an affluent
get on, and their relationship was frequently acrimonious. But their complementary talent shone through, and tonight we have a medley of Gilbert and Sullivan's favourites just for you.
That was Silly moves?
Close, but no. I got it. With many cheerful facts about the square of the high pot. With many cheerful facts about the square of the high pot. With many cheerful facts about the square of the high pot. With many cheerful facts about the square of the high pot. And what it is. I'm very good at integral and differential calculus. I know the scientific names of beings and immaculate. In short, in numbers, very trouble, and in the middle of I am the very model of a non-bit general. In short, in numbers, very trouble, and in the middle of he is the very model of a non-bit general. In fact, when I know what is meant by Mamelon and Ravelin, when I can tell at sight a Mauser rifle from a javelin, when such affairs of sorties and surprises I'm more wary at, and when I know precisely what is meant by commissariat, when I can tell what progress has been made in modern gunnery, when I know more of tactics than a novice in the nunnery, in short, when I've a smattering of any mental strategy.
I'm busting for a...
You'll say a Major General has never said. You'll say a Major General has never said. You'll say a Major General has never said. You'll say a Major General has never sat a strategy. For my military knowledge, I'm lucky and adventuring has only been brought down to the beginning of the century. But still a man's vegetable and the middle of I am the very model of a non-Major General. The silly man is vegetable and in the middle of he is the very model of a non-Major General. And what do you think of that?
Well, Script says very good. But can you do it faster? Faster. Much faster.
Yeah, let me say that. Watch this.
I'm watching.
In fact, when I go on between my Babylon and Dragon, when I can tell it sight without a rifle from a javelin, when such affairs as sorties and surprises I'm aware, and when I know precisely what is meant by commissariat, when I can tell what progress has been made in modern gunnery, when I know what tactics and a novice in a nunnery, be sure when I have a smattering of any mental strategy, you'll say a better Major General
did not approve of music hall and theatre and such, for they regarded them as centres of vice and immorality and totally unsuitable for their womenfolk. However, musical evenings at home were as popular with fashionable society as they were with ordinary folk. Everyone at a musical evening was expected to do something, whether it was a musical item, a recitation, a charade. It was an ideal situation for the upper and middle classes, since they were in their own homes, selected their own company and entertainment, and were thus shielded from the brash, vulgar life of the music hall. As we draw back the curtains, we reveal Mama, Papa, the young lady of the house, and of course, the vicar.
Mamma, do recite that funny monologue, Catty Conversations, for us again. It's naughty, but such fun.
Well, if you insist, my dear. Catty Conversations. There's nothing quite so pleasing as a little bit of praise, and if it's not forthcoming, then we seek it all our days. For instance, I am enchanted with my new evening gown, and so I show it to my dearest friends who look at it up and down. Why, you've got a new frock. How original. Designed it yourself? Oh, well, I'm sure I certainly ought to have known that. I've not seen one like it before. Of course, I always wear Paris models. They're expensive, but then they're so chic. Not that your little frock isn't nice, dear. It suits you, and that's that, so to speak. Meow. Now, when couple marry, they may be young or old, but the little home they start with is worth its weight in gold. She thinks it's all delightful. It looks so fresh and gay, and so she asks her friends to call, and this is what they say. What a dear little house. Quite a bird's nest, 2 twigs and a wee bit of moss. How on earth did you manage to cram yourselves in? I'm sure I'd have been at a loss. Furniture's nice. It's amazing how this cheap stuff can look quite good. Of course it won't wear, but then you're not starting young, so there's really no need that it should. But perhaps the conversations, the cattiest of all, is when designing mothers meet each other at a ball. Now the one has got a daughter just recently engaged, and the other girl is still fancy-free, and so she feels enraged. I must offer my congratulations. Your daughter's engaged, so I hear. You must be delighted she's got off at last. She's tried hard enough this last year. See, it's a nice boy. Not too brilliant, no prospects or cash, I'm afraid. Still, I expect you're quite pleased. She's got anyone now. It's so awful to be an old maid. Meow. Your father and I would just love to hear you sing the honeysuckle and the bee.
On a summer afternoon, when the honeysuckles bloom,
my dear, to insist. I'll do my best. Dear friends, I'm the curate of Slushford-on-Creek. My name is the Reverend Septimus Meek. The vicar and I work so hard as a rule. Today there's a meeting at our infant school. And the vicar and I will be there, for we are an industrious pair. The mothers, of course, at the meeting will be. At 2:20 they'll be handing out tea. And a silver collection is taken at 3. So the vicar and I will be there. I'm awfully sorry for poor Mrs. Jones. They say she has terrible pains in her bones. She lives all alone and she suffers, I fear. But tomorrow some friends will be calling, I hear. And the vicar and I will be there, for we are an industrious pair. They'll bring her much joy. She'll forget all her pain. With flowers and fruit, she'll be quite well again. And the squire is sending a case of champagne. So the vicar and I will be there. Now, Catherine Perkins is our village belle. I fear me, alas, still no matter. Ah, well, but let us rejoice, for this maiden serene will be married tomorrow to Samuel Green. And the vicar and I will be there, for we are an industrious pair. The bride will look sweet as she walks on the floor, but still in the throng, though the fact she'll ignore, will be several fellows who've kissed her before. And the vicar and I will be there. The town hall next week we've taken, you see. We're giving the poor some afternoon tea. And Lady Fitzgargle, you've heard her before, is giving us music from 3 until 4. And the vicar and I will be there, for we are an industrious pair. She means very well, but she's hardly a star, and soon as she sings, they hear her afar. Quite a lot of those boys will retreat to the bar. And the vicar and I will be there.
Papa, you haven't performed for us yet.
Oh, my dear sir, would you sing for me one of my own humble favourites? For you alone?
Take all this rose, this little tender rose, and let it flame with all I want to bear.
not make up for the sin of being born into the working classes. But nobody was looked down on more than the nouveau riche, money obtained from trade. And the worst offenders for this were the domestic staff who worked below stairs. To illustrate what we mean, come with us to the library of a large country mansion.
Your breakfast, sir. I hope, sir, I'm not interrupting your rest. I approach you with some trepidation, but I'd like to explain why I cannot remain without handing you my resignation. In my previous post down at Castleton Tiles, my employers both came in good stock, and I must say His Grace always kept in his place and never addressed me as cock. At the table, your manners are sad, dear miss. You behave like a 3-year-old child, and I flatly refuse to allow you to use the decanter for bitter and mild. And it grieves me to notice the way you relax with your feet on the tapestry stool, and to look most grotesque at the Chippendale desk as you fill in your penny points food. And the plebeian taste that your wife has included, it's amazing the things she has found. It horrifies me to serve winkles for tea, for we never did that at the Tiles. But as last year you created a stir, and you seemed to retain your composure. When you stood on the course, shouting, "Hard Roman North!" and so tips the royal enclosure. At the Earl's Garden party, a formal affair, I hardly considered it wise, and I heard you inquire from the wife of the squire which way the coconut shies. And last night I thought it was quite the last straw. In the kitchen you caused quite a scene. Paying pontoon with cook, you behaved like a crook, and you told it to stick on 14. And so, sir, I fear I've had more than enough, and in spite of the pay and good hours, I must ask for my cards, and with kindest regards, I go back to His Grace at the Towers.
Right, half a mojo. Don't be hasty, old son. Just consider my side of the question. I mean, I try hard enough to behave like a top, don't I? But it gives me such cruel indigestion. No, I don't fit in surroundings like this. I mean, manners ain't eaten or arrow. And I'd like you to know that I made all my dough selling pineapples off of me barrel. But why should you worry about how I behaves? For my money is as good as His Grace's, and I don't see why you should be shocked if I do have me meals in your shirt sleeves and braces. What I'd like you to state, though I know that to you, my appearance appears rather too sporty. And I'll try hard to get a bit more picky if you'll be a little less haughty.
I must admit, sir, when you put it like that, your appeal might find part overpowers. And I know it seems rash. Why, let's both have a bash, and we'll forget that old cock at the Towers.
I'm there to White Pond Street, and my club's the best in town. I'm well known from Hyde Park Corner to the Strand. I lead a really busy life. I can't stand men who limp. Though people puzzle me on every hand.
I know some men who have no club to go to, and always go straight home, and haven't got £1,000 a year. What fun is life to them? Must be awfully slow. They don't get much amusement, that's quite clear.
How do those poor chappies manage who don't have a man to help them dress? Fancy studying shirts and putting valley boots on. I'd be fairly done, I must confess.
Fancy. having to fill your bath each morning and shave your beard when that is growing long. And yet I'm told there are some men who have to. It's really simply absolutely wrong. I never get up late. In fact, I'm always down by 12. I reach my club at 12:30 or so. By 2 o'clock I'm sleeping, but wake up at 3:30. At 4 o'clock I walk down Bond Street or the Row.
At 6, my valet dresses me. At 7, I go and dine, the theatre or play bridge till 4 or 5. So, though I seem to rush through life, I seem to thrive.
How on earth all those poor blighters manage? Who sit on stools and push a beastly pen. I think I saw one once, when I went to the city, to see a man, I can't remember when.
Fancy having to get up and have your breakfast and go on the train with all the busy throng. And yet, I'm told there are some men who have to. It's really, simply, absolutely wrong.
How on earth do all those poor Johnnies manage, who have to carry guns and go and fight? Men in ships with no club to go to, and human beings with no electric light.
Fancy having to spoon with girls and wed them. I mean, fine young men like me, both ward and strong. And yet, I'm told there are some who have to.
It's really simply absolutely wrong.
There is a tendency now to look back on the last decade and a half before the Great War as a golden age of long, hot summers, of streets free from dangerous traffic, of wide open fields to play on. This was too the last period when the civilian population of this country felt themselves free from the threat of a potentially destructive international war. The last age of innocence.
A powerful, almost frightening flame of patriotism lit up the country. Edwardian theatres glowed like the hilltop beacons which centuries before had announced the arrival of the Armada. Music hall too was fanned by these flames. Songs were quickly penned, and their music and words spread as if by magic from the Alhambra to the Hippodrome across the length and breadth of the country. Vesta Tilley was dubbed England's finest recruiting sergeant, and she and many of the other music hall stars exhorted their audiences to sign up and fight. And then, as the packed troop trains toiled across northern France to the front, these songs were remembered, lifting morale and making at least a few of the young men aware of the futility of this war to end all wars.
Is the fact, babe,
lines begin, they think of firelit homes, clean beds and wives. I see them in foul dugouts, gnawed by rats, and in the ruined trenches lashed with rain, dreaming of things they did with balls and bats, and marked by a hopeless longing to regain bank holidays and picture shows and spats and going to the office on the train.
When the survivors finally marched home, there was no gleam of victory in their eyes, only the crushed expression of young men who had seen too much before their time. Many songs were parodied to try and explain their war. Jerome Kern's love song, They Didn't Believe Me, helped to explain their long years enduring the horrors of battle.
And when they ask us how dangerous it was, oh, we'll never tell. No, we'll never tell. We spent our pay in some cafe, fourth world women, night and day. 'Twas the cushiest job we'd ever had. And when they ask us, and they're certainly going to ask us, the reason why we didn't win the quite a girl, oh, we'll never tell. No, we'll never tell. There was a front, but damned if we knew where. And when they asked us how dangerous it was, oh, we'll never tell them. No, we'll never tell them. We spent our day in some cafe, and just one women night and day was the cushiest job we ever had. And when they ask us, and they're certainly going to ask us, the reason why we didn't win the quadruple, oh, we'll never tell.